You're listening to EdYouFM, the home of family edutainment. And joining us here in studio, we have quite a few Peace Corps volunteers here with us in studio. And so they're going to be sharing with us about some of the work that they do as part of the Peace Corps, especially all of that of what they're going to be doing here in Guyana. So we have joining us, we have Hermancina. Hermancina is a short-term response volunteer, and she's working specifically on adolescent health. Right next to her, we have Genevieve, who's responsible for environment. Next, we have Hannah, who has to deal with education, which is near and dear to our heart here at EdYouFM. And then we have Katie, who is working in health. So hello and welcome to EdYouFM.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, great. Now, first off, can any one of you just share with us about some of what you do or what the Peace Corps is about? Because many of us here in Guyana, we know about the Peace Corps, but we might just know about it as a name or an organization, but we're not quite sure what exactly you do. So can you explain for someone who might be listening on what exactly the Peace Corps does?
That's a loaded question. I think Peace Corps is really community-based. We are almost all, the volunteers are all in schools because it's such a good way to get into the community. And we are all about building capacity for health, for literacy and education, and for environment and science. And we work with anyone in the community, the teachers, just community leaders, and just to build up the capacity of our communities.
Overall, the reason for Peace Corps is to promote peace and friendship. So it is a way for pretty much Americans to come here at the invitation of the Guyanese government to collaborate, co-facilitate, co-train in a variety of projects that the Guyanese government would like to establish within its communities.
Okay, great. Now, how long has each of you been a part of the Peace Corps? How long have you been volunteering?
Three of us sitting at the table have been here just over a year. So we are looking to be in the country for about a year more. It's a 2-year program with a few months of training in the beginning.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a little bit different. So as you said before, I'm the short-term response volunteer. So my contract is for 1 year or 12 months. And I started the work here for a little bit less than 2 months.
Okay,
So
great.
I'm fairly new.
Yeah, so what prompted you to be a part of this initiative? Anyone can go first.
I have a background in nursing, so I joined the health sector to kind of pivot out of inpatient care. I was working in a hospital in the U.S. as a nurse, and I really was excited about the idea of kind of preventative care and promoting healthy practices in youth and adolescents so that hopefully they can learn the skills that they need and have the tools that they need to have healthy habits and choose healthy lifestyles to hopefully avoid those long-term illnesses and injuries later on in life so that they can, I just hopefully give them the life skills that will assist them in making healthy and safe choices going forward.
Okay, great. So, Katie, you've been here for just about 2 years or so working in health. So how has your experience been here in Guyana for just about the last 2 years?
It's been really exciting. I didn't really know what to expect because I didn't know so much about Guyana before I came, so I really got to experience it all with fresh eyes. So the culture has been, I find, very welcoming and enthusiastic. So it's been really fun to work with the kids who are excited to have this program going on in their schools. And it's been really interesting to kind of work with the teachers and the health centers to hopefully connect them with the resources that are already here and just kind of bridge the gap between what they know is out there and what they have been using. So really just helping communities make connections with each other. And I love the food. So between the people and the food, I'm having a very good time.
You mentioned food, and now I want to know, what was your favorite food?
Well, every day I get my pepper mango at the canteen.
Nice.
And if I'm especially hungry, I'll get an egg ball or a potato pie.
I love this for you. Now, what about you, Hannah? What inspired you to be a part of the Peace Corps?
I think First of all, my passion for education it runs deep. It's in my blood. My mother is a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. And before I came into the Peace Corps, I had just graduated college with a bachelor's in science and majoring in education. So I was really looking for opportunities to go outside of the normal, like, oh, you're going to apply to a regular public school and teach and do that for the rest of your life. And I was like, oh, that sounds so boring. And so I started looking at different opportunities to teach abroad. And I saw that Peace Corps had basically what I was like training for 4 years to do with literacy, especially in Guyana, where my mother is from. So I was like, this was made for me, so I have to apply. So I think in part just my career goals, as well as wanting to get more connection with my mother's side of the family, that really was what built my passion or my drive for coming to Peace Corps.
Mm-hmm. And how has your experience been being a part of the Peace Corps here in Guyana? You've been here for about 2 years as well, right?
Yeah, we've been here for a year.
Oh, okay, for a year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely been a roller coaster, but it's been fun, both building relationship with the volunteers, building relationships with my babies at school, the teachers, the people in the community. It's really been like a lot more life-changing than what I had thought. I was thinking like, okay, I'll do the 2 years and then just like go back home and everything will go back to normal. But now I don't even think that would be possible. So, yeah.
Okay, great. Now you work in literacy specifically. So what have you noticed so far having worked with the students? What are some of the issues relating to literacy that you have observed so far?
Okay. I think that there's a lot of issues in working with literacy, but the main issue that is causing a lot of the other issues is that we are not seeing the foundation. It's easy to teach grade 1 the foundation of literacy, like phonemic awareness, alphabetic knowledge, all of that. That's where they're really supposed to be developmentally. But when you have grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, all of the grades who don't have that foundation, it's really hard to figure out how to build that back up when they've lost so much time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Now we're moving on to Genevieve. Genevieve works in environments. We're asking you the same question. What prompted you to be a part of the Peace Corps?
Well, I've been involved for probably about 6 years in service work back home in the States. Traveling around, like initially I was traveling around with Habitat. We were building houses. And then I was with AmeriCorps and we did short-term projects all over the country. And then when I was in AmeriCorps, I met people who had done the Peace Corps and introduced me to the idea of it. When I did the research, environment, nature, education, those are all things that are very dear to me. And so I applied to go somewhere else in the world, travel, meet new people, and get to spread my love of those things. So now I'm working here in Guyana, teaching science in primary schools, which is really cool.
And how has that been for you?
It's a lot of fun. The kids, they weren't so sure at first about all the hands-on things. They were used to what they knew, but they very quickly got very enthusiastic about making a mess and learning things.
So what are some of the things that you introduced some of your students to that they might not have been accustomed to?
Well, some of the things that we've done, we built a volcano because that's like,
That
everyone
sounds like fun.
loves making the volcanoes. But another thing we tried when we were doing States of Matter is I was trying to show them that there's more than just the 3, and so we made oobleck, which is a weird substance. It's just cornstarch and water, but when you touch it, it's hard, but if you just let it sit, it's like a liquid. So it's a very interesting thing, and they were just fascinated by it. We've done a few other things. Oh, goodness. We went around the schoolyard. We have a lot of plants. And I had them sketch pictures of the flowers that had insects on them and then talk about the insects that they found, which flowers they were on, how many times they found the same one, that sort of thing, just to learn about pollination. just like a lot of exploration things instead of just sitting in the classroom and talking notes out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Now, you have been teaching students about the environment, teaching them science and so on. But what have you learned from your time here in Guyana so far?
That I don't know as much as I thought I did.
Oh, wow.
That's for sure.
That's deep.
There's a lot. I came in and was like, I know this. I went to school. I learned I graduated from college. I did a lot of science classes. And then I'm getting in the classroom and they're asking me questions. And I'm like, I don't know the answer to that question. Give me a minute and I'll look it up. And so I spent a lot of time looking it up or having them make guesses, and then we see what the actual answer is, or finding it in books that we have in the classroom, trying to learn new things. And I try to have a good background of what I'm going to be teaching them about. Mm-hmm. And then there's always the questions, Miss, what about this? What about that? What if this happens? And learning that I just don't know.
And that's great. And now we move on to Hermancina. Now, Hermancina, your volunteer status, so to speak, it's a little different. You are a short-term response volunteer, and you're working in adolescent health. So, same question. What prompted you to be a part of this? What pushed you into this?
So my background has been very much so in healthcare, more programmatic type of work, more public health type of work. So I did a lot of community work in various levels and in various spots in the country, in the U.S. So I wanted more opportunities to go more macro. So I wanted to delve into the global health realm. And as for me, I am American, but I am Caribbean American, more specifically Haitian American. So I saw the opportunity to work in Guyana, which is a Caribbean country. Mm-hmm. So coming here gave me, it was so amazing to see how similar things are, but with the unique Guyanese flavor. So just like you said, my work here is a little bit different from everybody else. I have less one-on-one opportunities with the community members and the kids, which after hearing everybody, I'm kind of jealous of. I am working in the ministry, so I'm working with the adolescent health unit. So that is headed by Ms. Glenn and the other adolescent unit members, which is Nurse Davis and Ms. C. Prasad. So my focus has been on working with the adolescent unit on doing a situational analysis. So seeing what the needs of the Guyanese youths are, specifically the adolescents, so those between the ages of 10 years old to 19 years old, seeing what their needs are, seeing what issues that they're having health-wise, what are the gaps, and finding a strategy and an action plan for the next few years that would be beneficial to the country and also realistic.
Okay, great. So what are some of the needs that you've noticed so far? I mean, you've only been here for a short while, yes. But what are some of the things that you've noticed in your time?
I think one of the main ones is just awareness and health education and health literacy. So a lot of the issues that affect youth health and promote mortality amongst adolescents are associated with non-communicable diseases, which are diseases that are associated with lifestyle habits. So, self-harm, even like injuries, and even some cases of teenage pregnancy mortality. So we wanted to find ways to give the youths and those around them, their support systems, as much information as possible, figuring out a way to disseminate that information and establish supportive programs in schools, in the community, and so forth, and the health centers to support adolescents.
Great. And how do you think the students, just the people that you've been reaching, how do you think they've been responding to all of the work that you've done so far?
Well, I'm still new. So right now it's just me doing a lot of writing, a lot of research, perusing for the data. And so far I've been mainly coordinating with those in the ministry. So on the more macro level, I've had opportunities to talk to people one-on-one, so getting a sense of what they know, what the youths know, what they feel comfortable with, what questions that they have. So that would help me have a good idea to steer the focus of the strategy. But I'm not just relying on that. We're hoping to have concerted efforts to do focus groups or interviews with adolescents in, the near future, so that we know exactly how it is that we want them to contribute to the work that we're doing. We want to understand what's going on in their head, what they need help with, and have them contribute to this new strategy.
Okay, great. Now, coming up on the 5th of December is International Volunteer Day. I know that's a really important observance for you, as you are all Peace Corps volunteers. So can you share with us about what are some of the things that we can expect for International Volunteer Day? Will you be doing anything in particular? Is there anything that you'd like for us to do as members of the Guyanese public? And especially considering the work that you do in schools and so on, anything relating to International Day of the Volunteer that's coming up on the 5th of December?
Well, I know that a lot of local communities will have initiatives that they hold all year round. So keeping an eye out for those and then being willing to take part in them, because they don't always have the best turnout. But if people keep in mind volunteering, how important it is for the community, and keep an eye out for those opportunities, that would be a good place to start.
Great. So on that note, what are some of the ways that we can observe it? What do you think that we can do for anyone who might be listening? They might have another volunteer group that perhaps works in a specific area, or they have a particular theme that they're working on. What do you think that those groups should do in observance of International Day of the Volunteer?
I think a lot of times volunteers maybe don't, and we don't look for appreciation. Obviously, we don't ask for, oh, well, you guys didn't do anything for us. But I think that just making sure that the people who are contributing are appreciated and heard, because we just had a training. And one thing that our program manager, Samantha Williams, was saying is that anything that goes uncelebrated also goes unnoticed. So I think going back and saying, this is all of the great things that you have done, this is what we're seeing, and just a small way to say thank you, whether it's maybe a card or maybe a night out, a dinner or something. I'm not sure exactly, but I think that just finding any way to celebrate the people who are contributing their time, their resources, their talents, I think would be a good way to start.
And to piggyback off of that, ask them what they're doing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Have an understanding of what it is that they're doing, what sort of information that they are trying to impart on the community. They have a specific goal in mind. So if you take a moment and just say, okay, what are you doing? And just realize that maybe you might have questions, because knowledge is power.
Indeed. Okay, great. Thank you, ladies, so much for sharing with us about what you do as part of the Peace Corps. Also, congratulations in advance for some of you, on, all of the good work that you are going to do. And so we hope that you do enjoy the rest of your stay. For some of you might have a few months, somebody else has a year and some change more to go. So we do hope that you continue to enjoy your stay here in Guyana. Before we go, do you have any final closing remarks?
I would just say thank you to Guyana for opening up to us. The people here have been amazing, funny, just open and inviting, and I've had an amazing time here. So thank you guys so much.
That's great. And we do hope to hear from you again sometime soon. All right. You were just hearing from Hermancina, Genevieve, Hannah, and Katie. And they are all volunteers here in Guyana, and they're working